In this tutorial, we're going to look at how we can use Keynote to create simple magic move animations that have massive impact when it comes to learner engagement and understanding. Magic move is the simple process of showing an object moving seamlessly from one side of the screen to the other, or from one position on a slide to the other. Let's take a look at this basic Earth orbit example. When I press play and tap my slide transition, you can see that the map moves from left to right in a seamless motion. I've also put another shape that simulates the Earth orbit and the shadow moving across. This is done using the magic move transition and shapes changing size or position. Let's see how we could do it. I'm going to start with a new slide and I'm going to add in a rectangle shape. Using my finger on the dots, I'm going to increase the size of the rectangle to cover the entire slide. Think of this like a bit of paper. I'm going to cut out another object and it will almost become like a viewer. The way I'm going to cut this out is to use a circle. So let's go to my plus button on my shape tab, choose the circle. Obviously we can't see it, so let's move up here to the paintbrush, tap style, choose a different color. I'm going to use my finger on the dot in the corner. I'm going to keep it to a circle as much as possible. That'll do fine. And what I'm actually going to do is, before I get rid of it, I'm going to copy it so that I've got a reference, so that I've got one that I can use to show this animation as it moves through. Now I'm going to take my finger, I'm going to drag to select both. I'm going to go to my paintbrush, go to arrange. Down the bottom here we have the option that says combine shapes. First option is unite, second option is intersect, subtract and exclude. Let's choose subtract. You can see now it's taken my rectangle shape and it's cut a circle. This is like my window, my viewer into what's happening behind. Let's paste in my circle shape that I used, and using my finger, keeping it as a circle in the corner. There we go. I'm going to make it just a bit bigger. Center it on my slide, go to my paintbrush and move it to the back. Now I can play about here, that just means it's now at the back. It's going to be easier to maintain the illusion of this map moving across. And what I'm also going to do, just to make it look a bit more like an Earth, is I'm going to choose a darker blue. Entirely up to you, you have the option to customize, change and go through as you see fit. Let's go to my plus button again. This time I could search through. You can see I've got different options: geometry, objects, animals, nature, etc, etc. But I'm going to search, and I'm going to search for a map. Drop my keyboard down, you can see there's a few options. This one here is the best sometimes because it actually appears like it's curved. Okay. Now this is obviously a basic animation. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to appear as if it is a 3D rotation, but we can give the illusion as best we can. I'm just repositioning it, resizing it. I'm going to change the color. Now obviously I can make it a bog standard green, or if I go to fill and I choose gradient, choose my first color as one of these greens and my end color as maybe one of the lighter ones. Gives me that kind of illusion of the way that the landscape is coloured on Earth. Not perfect, not ideal, still customize, change, play about as you see fit. What I'm going to do is here is I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to take my map and I'm just going to kind of position them up here so that they are perfectly aligned. There we go. And before, when I drew my finger across and selected all objects, that's okay if I want to select everything that's on the page. I obviously don't want to do that this time, so what I'm going to do is tap on my I'm going to tap on my object, my finger, and I'm going to look at a few different options. Go through, select objects, there we go. And I'm going to tap on the second one as well, that's fine. Tap done, both of them are now selected. Go up to a paintbrush, go to arrange, and I can either group or I can unite. Either option works. I'm going to choose my start position. Looks okay there, I think. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my paintbrush, arrange, I'm going to move it behind the cutout shape, but maintain it in front of the circle. And you can see down here that I'm just a little bit off. I haven't quite got that perfect, so I'm just going to resize it ever so slightly. Looking good. Okay, now I've got the bare bones of what I want this to look like. I am going to go to my slide. I'm going to tap with one finger. I'm going to choose transition. If you're using a trackpad or a mouse, you can use two fingers. I'm going to add transition and I'm going to choose magic move. Now, because this is a slide with another slide behind it, it's going to give me this kind of rough look. Luckily, Keynote is quite intuitive. When I tap done, it's going to duplicate this slide. So now, with magic move, I have my start position and my end position. So my end position is just using the center line as a reference, take it across and put it there. Now, when I'm working with students, when I'm working with teachers, one of the things that we always talk about doing is testing. Test and play, test and play, test and play. Tweak it as you go. Don't be happy just by doing it all at once and then seeing the finished product. Test as you go. So let's go to slide 5, press play. Position looks quite good, quite happy with that. Tap my screen and it spins really quickly. So my transition isn't ideal here. I can also see that as it moves, it's kind of moving up a little bit because I've got this gap down the bottom. So I'm going to pinch to come out of my full screen mode, and I'm just going to move this down just a smidge. There we go. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to edit the length of the transition. So tapping on my slide, once to select, and then tapping again to get my context menu. That's what we call this pop-up. Let's tap transition, tap magic move, and you can see the duration is 2 seconds. I'm actually going to make this 24 seconds. Okay, 24 hours, 24 seconds. You can see the connection there. What I could also do is make it happen automatically or on tap, entirely up to you. Let's test it again. Let's tap play. So it's moving a bit slower now, a bit better. Okay, overall I think that's looking quite good. Let's add in a bit of an additional effect. Let's add that shadow as it comes across. That's one that just extends from the length. So to do that, another rectangle. Increase the size. Now for the purposes of this, I'm going to change the color to blue just to make it easier to see. Make sure that it covers the top and bottom of the circle. I'm going to take another shape here. I'm going to cut it out. Now I'm just going to be a bit rough. Let's go to paintbrush, make that yellow, make it easier for you to see. Maybe make it a bit bigger. Don't be afraid to go from the top and bottom of the slide. That gives you your kind of your negative space. Okay, so now I'm going to select my objects, select the circle, select the rectangle, tap done, paintbrush. This time we're going to subtract again, go to arrange, go to subtract. Okay, now I'm going to pinch just to start using some of the negative space a bit better. I'm going to bring this across and I'm going to go to my paintbrush. I'm going to go to style, change it to black. Down here to opacity, I'm going to take it down to about the, let's go with 20% mark, that looks quite good. And this time I'm going to go back to the paintbrush, make sure your object is selected, tap arrange and move it back. Now, what is one of the best things about Magic Move is that I can add shapes and I don't have to change the transition. The transition still exists. All I have to do is add shapes and decide where I want them to start, where I want them to end, what position do I have them on the slide. So let's copy the shape, let's paste, let's go to arrange, move it back one, and this time all I'm going to do is move it like that. So I haven't actually moved the slide, moved the shape, sorry, I've resized it, I've made it smaller. Now let's see how this looks. Let's tap play. It's going to take 24 seconds. As you can see, it's all moving. So obviously as it gets into the darker area, the colour goes darker. Excellent, that's looking quite nice. It all goes together. Transition's nice and smooth. Moves quite nicely, gives that nice illusion that this is the Earth spinning. Now I could add in more detail as I see fit. I could change the colour of the rectangle. I could have it as a gradient, maybe a blue to black. All of these types of options are available. You have a play, you get as much of it as you can, and then when you're finished, you go to your three dots and you choose export. We're going to choose movie, and as you can see, it's slide 5 and 6. So I don't want all the slides, I only want slide 5 to slide 6. Go back to options. Next slide, go to next build. I usually take that down to 2:1. I think the default is 5 seconds next slide, 2 seconds next build. We just want that to be as low as possible because we want it to happen as seamlessly as possible. Once we're happy, tap export. Word of warning, bigger the animation, bigger the file, longer it takes to export. This is a 24-second simple animation, shouldn't take too long at all. It's creating my movie and it will bring up my share sheet where I have the option to put it into iMovie. Maybe I want to put a background audio. If I want to save the video so I can use it elsewhere, I could airdrop it to people who are close by. I can text the file if I've got iMessage set up, put it into OneDrive, Teams. Options are endless from my share sheet. However, because I'm going to use it elsewhere and maybe get a learning journal in Pages, I'm going to tap save video and I can do whatever I need to with it later. It now is saved into my Photos app and I can do the various other bits and bobs that I want to. So that's a very, very quick look at how we can use a simple Magic Move animation to share an idea, to display a complex, what could be quite a complex animation, but making it nice and simple and straightforward. Have a go yourself, share some of your examples using the hashtag MagicMoveChallenge. If there's any questions, please feel free to get in touch.